Alright, welcome back guys to JIDEX Academy. We have the correction of errors for today. So we're dealing with correction of errors. So before we do anything, we would love to know the definition of error. What's an error mean in accounting? So an error can be defined as mistakes made in the preparation of accounts. It's as simple as that. So we now have two categories of error. The first one is the error that do not affect the totals of the trial balance, and the second category is the errors that will affect the total of the trial balance. So for simplicity's sake, we'll be dealing with the errors that do not affect the total of trial balance for today. Then on our next class, we'll be discussing the ones that will affect the trial balance. Alright, the errors that will affect the trial balance, the agreement of the trial balance. So for the sake of this video, I don't really like a lengthy video, just to summarize. So I won't be giving you notes. An error of omission. This type of error occurs when the transactions are completely omitted from the debit and the credit side of the books. So I want you to know that the error will not affect the trial balance. Why? Because the error can be corrected by entering the omitted amount in the journal and posting it in the ordinary way. For example, payment of rent, 16 naira cash, has been omitted from the book. You record it in the ordinary way, following the principle of double entry. Then for error of original entry, this is where the wrong amount is entered on the debit and the credit sides of the book. For example, you are supposed to purchase of goods 3,301 from Ayo. For the error of principles, this type of error occurs when wrong classes of accounts are involved. For example, instead of you to debit an asset account, then you want to debit an expense account. So that's what these types of error is principally talking about. Then for error of commission, it is when you record it. It's a situation whereby an item of the transaction is recorded in the wrong person's account. Instead of recording in Ayo Daily, you now recorded it in Ayo, maybe because of the name looks similar. So whenever I see an error relating to that, it's error of commission. Then for compensating error, this type of error occurs when the debit and the credit side may be overcast or undercast by the same amount. So the errors will definitely cancel out each other. Then lastly, complete reversal of entry. This is when an item is posted to the wrong side of the account. An account will be debited is credited, and vice versa. Here are the examples for the errors that affect the agreement of trial balance. So the first one is for error of omission. So these are whenever I see a question like this, you should know that this is an error of omission. Purchase of goods from Alibaba 1,000 was completely omitted from the account. Alright, for you to correct this, you just record it in the normal principle of double entry way. But first, we have to identify the accounts that are involved. So purchase of goods, that's purchases account, and Alibaba account. Those are the two accounts involved. Then who is receiving and who is giving? So to make this easier, so I would have written it straight just like that, but I want you to see how you correct it, the practical aspect. So you debit purchases, write Alibaba, and you write the amount 1,000 naira. Then you credit Alibaba, writing purchase. How much? That's all. The error has been corrected. So that's all for the example for error of omission. So I have an example for this is an example for error of original entry, and it says cash payment to Eniola of 95 naira entered in the book as 59 naira. So the first step is to find the difference. And the difference here is what? 36. So 95 minus 59 is 36. That's the difference. 36. So once we find the difference, so who is receiving here? Maybe it was like a shortage. So Eniola is receiving and cash is giving. You draw the line let me just write action in order to save our time. You debit Eniola and you credit cash by 36 naira. For an error of principle, and like I said, when I was explaining earlier, whenever you see an error of principle, that means the wrong classes of account are involved. So purchase of furniture of 16 naira had been entered into the furniture expenses account. Furniture is an asset. Furniture expenses is an expenses account. So there are two different things. Although they both have a debit balance, but yeah, it's because it was entered into the furniture expenses account, therefore you credit it. You credit furniture expenses account and you debit furniture account by the same amount. Furniture amount by 16 naira. You credit furniture expense by 16 naira. That's it. You can always do it in your T format too, like that. That will be your private assignment. Before we move into our exercise, purchase goods of 300 from Ayola entered in the Ayodele's account. This is an error of commission because it entered into the wrong person's account. So here's what to do. We know our action first. Your debit and credit. So who are we to debit, who are we to credit? Purchase goods from Ayola. So purchases account is out of this. We are left with Ayola and Ayodele because we must have debit purchases account somewhere else. So Ayola is the one that is supposed to receive before it entered the Ayodele account. So we have to debit Ayola by 300 naira. Then you credit Ayodele by the same amount. That's all. And if you are confused about this, just comment compensating error. Comment video and now. So here's an example for it. The sales account is undercast by 600 naira. So also is the wages account. Alright, so the accounts here involve sales and wages account. You can choose to underline it. Sales and wages account. Alright, when a sales account is undercast, that means you credit it. Then wages, you debit your wages by how much? 600. But if it was to be overcast, then reverse will be the case. You debit sales and you credit wages. So it's like an amount not owing. Therefore, if you have a question on this, you can ask. Complete reversal of entries. So here's the example. The payment of cash to Ogundele 100 naira had been entered on the debit side of cash book and the credit side of Ogundele's account. So the mistake here is cash book is supposed to be credited and Ogundele's account debited, but it debited cash book and credited Ogundele's account. So the action required there is to debit Ogundele and credit cash. So for us to do that, because there's a mistake here, you multiply it, the 100 naira by 2, so that it can reflect. So it's reversal, so you multiply it by 2. So the first step is multiply the 100 naira by 2, which is 200. So you have to debit Ogundele and you credit cash book by how much? 200 naira. 200 naira. So that's all for today. Kindly like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So we are looking forward to see you in the next class. Thank you. And if you feel you want to book me, if you are in my vicinity, you can go to my profile. You see my WhatsApp number, the link to my WhatsApp. Click on it. Thank you. Have a good day.